Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Edgecom Energy's latest webinar. Today's topic is how to access Save On Energy's $50,000 incentive. Now, it might be more if your facility is larger, for real-time energy monitoring. So if you don't know me, hi everyone again. My name is Bedad Barami. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Edgecom Energy. And today with me, I have Courtney Conway as well. Courtney.
Hi guys. I'm the operations manager here at Edgecom Energy, so I'm glad to be here for this webinar.
So the main topic of today's webinar is how to access this new funding that Save On Energy has made available. This is to incentivize more facilities to conduct energy monitoring and gather that data that they're going to need to be able to improve their energy efficiency, improve their peak management programs. And this incentive will really make it a lot more cost effective and a lot easier to implement these solutions in a much more cost-effective manner. And it's funded through the Save On Energy program, which is very exciting. We're going to be going through the incentive today. So what does the incentive look like? How much is it? How do you qualify? Then we're going to be going through Edgecom Energy's DataTrack solution. So how exactly is our solution different maybe than some of the other energy management systems out there, and how it's eligible for these incentive programs. And then the application process and how Edgecom can actually help you manage that application process.
So starting with the incentive. So with the Save On Energy EMIS incentive, you can receive up to 50% of your project cost to implement an energy management information system. Now that the amount can vary depending on what your eligibility is. So if you're under 400,000 gigajoules, you can get up to $50,000 in incentives, or 50% of the project cost up to a maximum of $50,000. If you're over 400,000 gigajoules, then and this is up to $250,000, you get 50% of the project cost, and again up to that maximum of $250,000. So when you're deciding whether or not you want to participate in this program, we can help you do this as well. But please make sure that you're looking at the eligibility requirements and determining whether or not you can fall under 400,000 gigajoules or over.
Yeah, so I think another thing to call out here is the 400,000 gigajoule number. So that's a combination of all your energy consuming from all various fuel sources. So if you're about 12 megawatts of regular consumption, but then you don't use any natural gas, that works out to about 400,000 gigajoules. But with natural gas consumption or other types of energy fuel types thrown in, you might be as small as 6 or 7 megawatts to be able to jump into that over 400,000 gigajoule kind of target. So we expect that larger $250,000 funding to be available for really the larger major energy consumers in the province. But the $50,000 funding is open to most different types of facilities. This is primarily focused on manufacturing and industrial consumers. There are other programs available for various industries as well, but today we're talking about primarily industrial and manufacturing customers taking advantage of this EMIS incentive. The other thing to call out is that this program is being made available through the Save On Energy program. So even though the funding is provided by NRCan, the actual facilitation of the incentives is not through NRCan's. It's part of the GIFMP green infrastructure funding programs. So those are pretty complicated and lengthy, and they're really designed for bigger projects. And it takes a long time to get that money and to get the pre-approval and everything. But because this is being funneled through the Save On Energy program, it means that facilitation, the response rates, the actual ability to get the money once you've done your EMIS project, to get the money for the incentive back is much quicker and much faster and much easier to facilitate. And again, Edgecom, we are experts in managing the Save On Energy program, and we'll be able to handle all of that stuff for you as well. So again, breaking down the eligibility criteria, your facility must be within specific NAICS sectors. And again, because the government is targeting specific parts of the economy that need to become more efficient and that are really critical sectors of the economy, the facility needs to be part of these NAICS sectors. So agriculture, forestry, fishing and hunting, mining, quarries, oil and gas extraction, utilities, construction, manufacturing, transportation and warehousing, and waste management and remediation services. So you can see here that large Class A office buildings are not included as a part of this incentive. In terms of the commitments that your corporation will need to make to be eligible for the program, there's not much else really involved. Really what it comes down to is creation of an energy management policy. So making sure that there's a plan in place for what you're going to be doing with the data that you get from an energy monitoring system, and then talking about how you're going to be doing M&V and making sure that these solutions are actually reducing your energy costs. That's where, again, EdgeCom will come in and handle all of those needs for you.
In addition to that, it does say assignment of a dedicated energy manager. So this can be someone who has their CEM certification, but looking closer at the guidelines, this can also just be an engineer, someone with their PN certification who is taking on the responsibility of energy management within the facility. Additionally, we also need a report showing MV&R plan, so your measurement, verification, and retrofit plan using Save on Energy guidelines, which includes the facility's projected savings from implementing an EMIS. And I know that sounds kind of complicated, but it is very straightforward. It could just be like your annual consumption from the year prior versus post-implementation.
And again, so all the regulatory side of things that you're going to need to be able to get the funding, EdgeCom will be taking care of that for our clients. So what is eligible to get funded through this program? It's very important, and it's actually very interesting the way that they've structured this. So cost of any equipment purchased. So this includes the sensors, the hubs, the gateways, any software that needs to go along with the hardware solutions could be built into the hardware as well, and that would be covered as well. So that's how EdgeCom solution works, is we're building in a lot of the hardware with the specific software that you're going to need to be able to see that real-time consumption and access the portal and see everything that's required for an energy management system. The cost of labor that's required for installing the sensors. So if you're going to have an electrician come in, if you're going to need people to actually connect those CTs and get everything up and running, the cost of that labor is also included. Again, if you're interested, EdgeCom could help facilitate that labor for you as well to get the actual system installed. And then finally, the cost of the M&V plan is covered. So once you've installed an EMIS, one of the things you're going to need to do is you're going to need to make sure that you actually have an M&V plan that verifies the savings and the costs and all the programs that you're going to be enabling through the system. So that M&V plan and creating that M&V plan and all of that is covered as well. And again, EdgeCom will cover all three of these for you.
So just going over a few things that we mentioned previously and some additional requirements. The EMS must follow these guidelines here. So it must follow the NRCan guidelines or ISO 50001 or Superior Energy Performance Standards, or there is an option for a custom approach as well. You must also submit spec sheets or manuals confirming compliance. So again, if you were to move forward with EdgeCom Energy's DataTrack solution, we could provide you with a spec sheet or a product sheet incorporating what exactly our system offers you. And to be more specific, it must include energy review baselines, KPIs, objectives, trainings, and compliance tracking. So a lot of the initial points can actually be covered directly within the software. So the baselines, KPIs can easily be tracked within DataTrack, but then the training and compliance tracking is something that we can additionally help with. If you need further training on the DataTrack software or how to maneuver this project in total, then that's something that EdgeCom Energy can directly help you guys with.
So the other thing that's really important, and again, EdgeCom comes in here with support for all this, is you need to have a project team that includes a CEM, a CET, or a PEng. If you don't have one, EdgeCom could become that person for you. We have people here with all those certifications. You also need to have credentials with the project experience plan submitted. So as a part of the project plan, one of EdgeCom's energy managers will be the project manager, and that way you'll make sure that you have the certifications that you need. Your team must, the team that's implementing the project also needs to have ISO management experience, so ISO 50001, 14001, 9001, or any of those other ISO initiatives, energy audit experience, and energy retrofit experience. Again, our team has all of these prerequisite requirements for the funding, and we would be a part of the project team to implement these things for you.
All right, and then furthermore, the facility requirements, so an annual baseline from utility bills or revenue grade meter data to verify baseline energy use, which almost everybody has utility bills, so that's not too difficult. And then additionally, an energy management policy and designated energy manager. And like I said previously, and on the last slide, it doesn't need to be someone specifically with the CEM. It could be, but a CET or a PM would also qualify for that position. And then the energy management policy just needs to be the outline in terms of energy management initiatives that the facility is going to be taking in order to just become more efficient.
And again, that's another thing that EdgeCom will do as a part of the program, right? So everything that you need to be able to participate in these programs will be handled by our team as long as you are a DataTrack client. Now, one of the things that needs to happen post-implementation, which is really important to call out here, is that there needs to be a system assessment and other considerations factored in as well. So the system that's being installed, it needs to be operational for at least 4 years or 48 months. The ISO at any time, because they've given you money to participate in this program and to basically subsidize the cost of an EMIS, they might want to do an audit just to make sure that system was actually implemented, which is fair, it's understandable. And again, they can assess, the NRCan may choose to assess the project for 4 years post-installation, right? So they might say, we want to make sure that the portal that you're using is working, that the meters are working. So for 4 years after installation, the system has to be continuing to work, which is obviously, that would just be a normal expectation, right? We don't expect that after 1 year, this would be taken out. The other consideration is that the environmental benefits of the solution are partially assigned to the ISO. So some of those carbon credits and some of that savings that comes with that partially assigned to the ISO. Net metering solutions are not a part of this. So if you're going to be installing solar and metering your solar and getting net metered, this is not a part of that. This is for internal facility submetering or downstream submetering of specific assets or specific departments in your operations. And again, if you have non-compliance, so let's say you do this and then after 1 year you choose to rip out the EMIS system, it may result in the repayment of incentives. And again, this is just government making sure that they're holding people accountable and the benefits that are supposed to come from this program are actually maintained. So with all that said, now this is really exciting for us because we've been working on our DataTrack solution now for a few years, and it's been improving every year. As you know, EdgeCom is primarily a peak prediction and battery optimization company, but we also have our IoT platform that enables real-time energy monitoring systems as well. This funding just makes our solution much easier and much more accessible for all different kinds of facilities.
Whether that be the CTs, the pulse counters that we offer that can connect to your utility meter, and then a lot of those insights that we provide within the portal itself. Whether that be the CTs, the pulse counters that we offer that can connect to your utility meter, and then a lot of those insights that we provide within the portal itself. So what do you do with all of that data? We do have the AI Energy Copilot, which allows you to ask it direct questions regarding the data that's available. This gives you instant data analysis, tailored insights for your facility. It can answer questions about energy, finances, emissions, and production. We also have an API and SCADA integration. So if you do have other resources that you're using for your energy monitoring, we can try and pull those in, and that way we can host the data on DataTrack as well. And then ultimately you'd be able to ask the AI Energy Copilot questions about that data. Additionally, you can generate and export CSV straight from the Copilot. So let's say you just want to see the data from yesterday. You can briefly ask it, hey, can you please provide consumption data for yesterday, February 4th, 2025, and it'll provide you a CSV file, which you now have to your disposal.
So that's one of the major differentiators of EdgeCom's EMIS versus other solutions is the fact that, you can basically talk to it and get the results that you're looking for. This is very user-friendly. And here we have an example of this Copilot installed for one of our clients. And they're actually using this Copilot to optimize their production schedule based on what the forecast energy prices are over the next 24 hours. So we're taking in ISO data, looking at the HOPE numbers, and then making a recommendation of when you should consume more energy and when you should consume less energy and when each device should actually be on or off based on the real-time HOPE forecast that our PTrack system is making. So all of this works together really seamlessly and hand in hand, and it makes it much easier for you to manage your energy and reduce your costs and reduce your peak demand and your emissions as well. Some of the other capabilities that DataTrack brings to the table is the fact that it's an IoT-based solution. So it means that there's not a big scoping exercise that needs to happen. If you've gone through and installed an energy management system in the past, you know that there's a lot of engineering involved, there's a lot of IT involved. There's a whole scoping exercise that needs to happen, which is basically you need to run Ethernet wires to the right points. You need to have electricity at the right points to make sure that the meters can actually plug in. Then you need to buy the meters, and the meters historically have been very, very expensive. So it becomes this whole budgeting, and it becomes a big project. We've tried to make it so that it's as scope-free as possible. So with our solution, it's an IoT-based platform. You get these hubs and you get these sensors. They're wireless and batteryless as well. So in many cases, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be starting with some of your main energy consuming equipment, the big ones, the chillers, the boilers, the big stuff. And then if you want to go downstream down the line, the meters are very cost effective and the system scales and grows over time. So you don't have to go undergo this hundreds of thousands of dollars project and scoping and all that right off the bat in one go. You can actually get the certain things that you need monitored to start, and then over time go downstream through your facility as well. We have a client that started with their chillers, their larger motors, and now they've gone all the way down to wanting to install monitoring points on every single even plug load that they have within their facility. So over time, you start using this data and analyzing this data, and you want to get more granular and go more downstream. The fact that they're plug and play means that they're super easy to install. The solution is really, really easy to get up and running. Everything is provisioned here in our office and then shipped out to you. So there is no IT setup required. There's no programming required. You don't need to go through your firewall and get all these approvals. It's a completely separate network from your internal IT network. So that means that cybersecurity is also a huge consideration that has been thought of with our solutions. And then there's a lot of customizability that happens. So once you install these sensors, if you'd like to group certain lines together or certain motors together or certain departments together, so you could really get an overview of what's happening in different parts of your operations, how are different lines comparing with each other, how are different buildings comparing with each other. That customizable sensor grouping really enables a lot of insights to come out from it. And then data export as well. So once you have the real-time monitoring on your energy, all that data is visualized on our portal. And if you're interested, we can give a demo on the portal as well. Just reach out to us. But you can export that data into CSV as well. So then you can run your models in Excel or any other type of system that you'd like to have as well.
So here's a few more features. So customizable alarms. This one has been very popular with our clients. Essentially for all of those assets that are being monitored, you can set threshold amounts. So if you want to be alerted when like your chiller or your boiler reaches X amount of kilowatts, you can receive an email. And we are working on actually providing SMS updates as well. Secondly, we have SCADA and API integration. So I briefly touched on this in a couple slides ago, but if you do have a current SCADA system or you already have an energy monitoring platform that has APIs, we can actually try and take that data and put it onto our portal. So that way you can use the DataTrack and AI Copilot features alongside the data that you already have. Support for various resources. So DataTrack supports various resource types, including electricity, water, gas, and IAQ. So electricity, water, and gas is dependent on the utility, but for the most part, we've made some really big strides in being able to connect those resources to the portal. And additionally, the IAQ sensors are environmental sensors, so we have temperature, CO2, and humidity. So as you can imagine, if you start using all these different types of resources, you'll have just so much data available to your disposal on our portal. And then lastly, production data insights. So transform your production data into useful insights such as consumption per unit or emissions per unit. So ideally, if you're able to provide us with the production data, or ideally we will be able to connect it to the portal in the next couple of weeks. Our tech team is working on that right now. So if you have like a production software, you might be able to see that data within the portal directly, and that way you can make better insight or gather better insights and make better decisions.
So as your energy partner, Edgecom Energy is here to help make this EMIS funding as easy as possible. So we'll walk you through the entire process. As I mentioned, we have energy managers, professional engineers on staff who can help facilitate all of the applications, all of the programming, all of the funding programs. And we make it super easy for you to be a part of that. So the process is pretty straightforward. So we start with an understanding of your facility. So we'll help you understand the details of the program and ensure that it's a right fit for you, make sure that you're eligible, make sure that the meters that you're thinking of are the types of meters that are funded through the program, which any energy consuming equipment is basically covered. Scoping out what kind of, how many devices you're going to need and what kind of solution you're going to need. Then we'll determine your eligibility. We'll identify the total incentives that you'll receive. So you'll get a package from us basically breaking down, here are the metering points, here's what the cost of the hardware is going to be, here's what the incentive is going to be. And then we'll actually handle the application. So there's a pre-project application that needs to go in with Save On Energy. We'll apply for that incentive on your behalf. So we will become basically your applicant representative. You as the facility owner are the only one that's actually allowed to receive the incentive check from the IESO, but we will do all the facilitation to make sure that the data and all the forms are filled out and cross our T's and dot our I's to make sure that you're able to receive that incentive as soon as possible. Then we'll support you to address any administrative inquiries. So if the ISO comes back and they have any questions, or they want to do a site visit, or they want to check anything, we're experts in that, and we'll handle them and we'll walk them through the process. And then we'll actually help you to implement the EMIS system and provide you end-to-end support every step of the way, from scoping to installation to making sure that the system's up and running, and to make sure that now you have an energy monitoring system that helps you see what's happening in your facility in real time, but also that 50% of it was funded through the Save On Energy program.
So Edgecom Energy, apart from DataTrack, we offer a few other services. Some of you guys are current clients, so you may be aware of these. We have a peak prediction service called PTrack. We also are aggregators for the ISO's demand response program. And additionally, as mentioned, we are also provide a DataTrack software. We found that clients are the most successful when they actually have all three of these services bundled together, which is what we kind of call an energy bundle. Which is a package that we offer where you get all three of those services together. And as you can imagine, as you're gathering all of this data, you're looking for different places where you can become more efficient within your facility. You might actually find that there are some assets or pieces of equipment that you may be able to just turn off or shift a load onto a different time, which would be beneficial for the ICI program, or again, for demand response. It's very surprising how many customers come to us and say that they don't think that they can participate in these programs, but then after installing all of our sensors onto their pieces of equipment, they can actually identify a couple hundred kilowatts at least where they can use that to provide or participate in these programs. So that's why we have the energy bundle, because we believe that these services kind of go hand in hand with one another. And again, Edgecom Energy, we do provide a holistic energy management solution where all of our services kind of go hand in hand with one another and help each other out in terms of providing energy savings, and then with demand response, revenue generating. So that's always appealing to clients. But just to go over what's included in the bundle. So as I mentioned, the demand response service is included. Typically, as aggregators, we do take a bit of a fee or a percentage split of the earnings, but if you do go for the energy bundle package, you would actually receive 100% of those demand response payments from the ISO. Additionally, you would get the DataTrack EMIS system, and then additionally the PTrack peak prediction service. And both of those are within the same portal, so very easy to access. You literally just go from one icon to another icon to be able to access those different services. We also offer complimentary curtailment action plans for ICI. So again, sometimes you might not even think that you can participate in these programs, or you might not even have any monitoring or metering installed. We can actually come to your site Beta and I have actually done it many times. Walk through your facility, go through your assets and equipment that you have available, ask questions about what your manufacturing or your production operations look like, and gauge if there's any opportunity there for shifting loads or curtailment. Additionally, we have unlimited access to Portal and AI Energy Copilot. So unlimited access, we give you also unlimited users. So we believe that data is important for making decisions. So we want to empower everyone within your facility to be making those data-driven decisions, especially for energy. So then everybody in your facility can have a login and be able to access this data. Bill analysis and verification is something that we've been working on recently. We have two ways of doing that. So we partnered with a bill analysis and verification company who is one of our partners, but shortly we will be embedding this directly into our portal as well. We offer free data gateway and pulse counter per facility. So typically you would have to purchase the hardware that would be in your facility, but if you move forward with the bundle itself, you get the gateway and the pulse counter for free. And the pulse counter is the piece of hardware that enables us to connect to your utility meter, ideally your electricity meter, so that way you can see your real time or your data in real time. We offer an additional 30% discount for hardware. So apart from the gateway and the pulse counter, if you wanted to move forward with some CTs or those IAQ sensors that were mentioned, you would get a 30% discount. And then the system access fee would be waived. And additionally, a guaranteed 2% in identifying energy savings in the first year. And that would just come from the data that's going to be available from the portal. As I mentioned, as you start monitoring and looking at the data, you'll be able to see some places or at least gauge some opportunities where you can find those savings. And we do guarantee that 2% there. Is there anything else you'd like to add on the bundle, or if you think I missed anything, Beta?
No, I think, I mean, the whole point behind the bundle is just to make it much easier. So, if you're a Class A facility, or even if you're a Class B facility that is close to Class A, I think a lot of these things make a lot of sense for you. So you should be participating in the ICI program. You should be getting your demand response payments. What we've done is we basically brought everything together in one platform. So it's one piece of software, but it's also one payment, right? It's one subscription. So everything that you need for energy is in one place. All the data, all the peaks, all the real-time monitoring solutions, all of it is in one place. It just makes your life a lot easier when it comes to understanding what's going on with your Ontario energy bills and making sure that you're not paying more than you should be. And then with our expertise and our energy managers, then we'll come in and we'll help you kind of walk through the process and find areas for savings and improvement in your facility. So that's what this is all designed for. So again, I want to stop there. There's a lot of questions, so we're going to leave quite a bit of time to answer your questions. And again, I want to appreciate everyone for your time, for being a part of this today. And if you have any questions, make sure you drop them either in the meeting chat or in the Q&A section. And then we'll start kind of answering all of these one by one. So the first question that we have, hi Rosanna, thanks for your question. So it says, if I already have energy monitoring hardware in my site and I need only the software to be provided by you, would the software cost only still qualify for the incentive? So if you already have some hardware in your facility and you don't need any additional hardware to be able to monitor the solution, then we wouldn't be eligible for the incentive. But in most cases, what we actually do, if there's proprietary hardware that's there or some legacy hardware that's there, we'll help you actually install these Modbus readers or new hubs. So we would basically take a few of our hardware devices, not all the sensors, not all the devices, but a few of our hardware devices would make it much easier for us to be able to integrate within the internal legacy meters that you already have. So this would have to be taken on a case-by-case basis. Anything that's hardware related would be eligible for the incentive. So if you want to send us that information, we'll take this offline and have a chat with you and see, what your system looks like and what the potential is there. But it's pretty nuanced, right? So if there is a potential that we have to install hardware to grab data off the legacy meters you already have, any of that would be covered through the incentive.
Is this EMIS program for all fuel types or just electricity? And there's a second part, can an applicant apply for multiple facilities either? Okay, so let's go for the first question first. So it is all fuel types. It's not just electricity. And then to answer the second one, can an applicant apply for multiple facilities either in a single or multiple applications?
So yeah, so that you are eligible to, it's per facility, right? So it's $50,000 per facility. It's not per account or per corporation. It's per facility. So as long as your facility meets the eligibility requirements, it's $50,000 per facility. And again, it is for all fuel types. So it's not just electricity. If there's gas, if there's ammonia, other things that you'd like to look at, there's potential there.
Another question from Rosanna here. Can this system automatically integrate with the plant systems to send the optimized schedule or equipment instructions to our internal scheduling platform or our control system?
Amazing question. Yeah. So, I mean, we've built the platform to be very modular and to be able to connect to a lot of different things. So if you have either HVAC or other types of internal operations that you'd like us to take control over, we can absolutely do that for you. That doesn't fall within the EMIS system. It's under our NeuroCharge product, which has been designed to control any type of distributed energy resource. And currently we're doing battery systems, we're doing generators, we're doing HVAC, we're doing other industrial processes as well. So that's definitely something that we could talk about. And if there are parts of your operations that you'd like to give us remote access for peaks, for energy optimization, that's definitely something that we're doing for many clients, and it's something that we'd be very excited to talk to you about. Next one, Courtney.
Is there a similar Save on Energy program, but for residential clients?
Yeah, so the Save on Energy program is actually it's the Ontario Energy Conservation Incentive program, basically, and it's for industrial, commercial, and residential. Residential customers don't get EMIS funding particularly. Right now, there's some other programs for residential customers for solar and for energy storage in some places, but there is no EMIS funding for houses or residential. And again, that's because it's usually there's smaller if it's a house, or if it's multi-res, they're not eligible for this program yet because the expectation is most multi-res is going to be sub-metered. But again, if you have some element of energy monitoring that you'd like to have in your facility, DataTrack is very, very cost effective. So even without the incentives, I think in many cases for residential facilities, it would still actually make sense.
And I think just in general, Save on Energy is announcing just a few new incentives that they have available. So I just would recommend to maybe look at their website and see specifically for residential what's up and coming there. So what is the link for the Save on Energy program referenced? I don't believe it's referenced here in this slide deck. But again, if you just go onto their website and look at their incentives available for large energy users or businesses, you can find it there. And then I'm sure when we do send out the slides afterwards, we can ask our marketing team to add the link into the slide deck as well.
Yeah, it's called the EMIS funding. So it's called the EMIS funding initiative or something like that. But Adam, we'll make sure that in the follow-up and the recordings and everything that the link is included. So Bennett, please make sure that's included in the link. So we have a Spanish question, which is really interesting. So I just put it in ChatGPT to say, what is the question? So, or maybe Courtney, if you want to take that one since you speak Spanish.
Way to put me on the spot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it possible to monitor processes, industrial processes with the Modbus protocol? So I think that's just something that you briefly touched on previously. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on the Modbus protocol specifically for industrial.
I'm happy you passed your Spanish test. That could have been embarrassing for both of us. So yeah, no, definitely we do include Modbus capability. We have a hardware device that lets us monitor Modbus, and we can connect to any sort of device you have in your facility through the Modbus. It's wireless as well and battery powered, and it works with the LoRa protocol, which our whole IoT system works on. So it's a wireless Modbus reader that can integrate with your existing meters and then provide solutions. You want to translate that into Spanish for me?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Again, put you on the spot enough times, huh? So we'll answer that one through ChatGPT.
I'll send you a message, don't worry.
We'll send them a message. So there's another question. Is this available in any other province besides Ontario? So this specific one through the Save on Energy program is Ontario-centric. So again, the funding came from NRCan, and then from NRCan, it went to Save on Energy, and Save on Energy is facilitating because Save on Energy has really faster response rates, and they make it much easier. There are other EMIS funding throughout Canada. I know Hydro-Quebec has a program. I know there's programs in the maritime provinces as well. So we'd definitely be able to look into that. I know BC has programs as well. And there's also the NRCan national program. So NRCan actually opens up their own EMIS funding a couple of times a year, where there's $50,000 to $250,000 of funding through NRCan for other facilities throughout Canada. So Ontario, they've just streamlined it and made it much easier through Save on Energy. But other provinces have either similar programs or the NRCan program that we could facilitate for you as well.
Someone just said they can't confirm the web location, but I do have a link here, so I'm just going to share that in the chat for now. But as mentioned, we will put it in the marketing collateral in the follow-up email.
Thank you, Courtney.
And sorry, one last question from another one coming in. So the first one is from Colin. Is it a first come, first serve opportunity? That's a great question.
Yeah, so historically, the province has allocated about $300 million a year to the Save on Energy program. As of January 1st of 2025, there was a major announcement from the provincial government that they really expanded these programs. So they're giving out, I think it's $12 billion over 10 years, something like that. So they've really expanded. I think they've more than tripled the program. So there's a lot more money that's available, but that money still runs out, right? So if they're seeing a really strong uptake in these EMIS funding programs, the money will run out. Many of you might not have been around during the 2009, 2010 early days of the feed-in tariff programs for solar, but anyone who got into those programs really early was, laughing their way to the bank essentially for years, because those programs were so cost effective and the incentives were so good. So it is better to act sooner on these. It is first come, first serve. Once the money runs out for Save on Energy, there is a chance that the province replenishes it, but there's a chance that they might not. So again, always better to do these things sooner rather than later.
Thanks for that. And then can you also highlight the other provincial program info?
Yeah, Adam, let's take this offline. I'll send you an email with a couple of details regarding the NRCan EMIS funding. And again, that NRCan EMIS funding is not an evergreen fund, so it's not always available. It comes and goes. Right now, it's not available because they put it through Save on Energy, but there are calls that open through the NRCan funding program.
A few more coming in here. Interested in the AI advisor on how to reschedule the production. Does this mean that the system can predict forecast energy consumption based on my production plan? How is this forecasting made? This could be an entire other webinar in itself, but we'll try to make it as short and concise as possible.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with our AI Copilot, excuse me. So recently we won an award out of 800 companies globally for our AI Copilot to partner with a major European electrical manufacturing company. And basically what it does is it's a generative AI solution that connects to your production data and connects to your energy data and helps you make better production schedules that are optimized for how much energy it's going to save you. So there's a lot that could be a whole other webinar. I could talk about that for over an hour. I think Rosanna, probably what makes sense is, we'll reach out to you after and schedule a call to walk through some of this stuff.
And another question. Oh, sorry. Please send me the same info about NRCan program in other provinces. So we'll try and put together some useful links for all the participants just based on these questions. And then if you have any further questions specifically about the products or services, or if you want to see a demo, reach out to us and we can definitely help with that as well. And I think that is all for questions. I'll give it another minute or two just to see if anyone has any more.
So since we have a little bit of time, maybe I'll just talk a little bit on Rosanna's question. So the system can predict forecast energy consumption based on production. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's designed to do, right? So you would actually give it your planned production schedule over the next coming days. And then based on tariff information and your own information of your facility and the production information, it runs an optimization model. And then it tells you, this is what I recommend. This is how I recommend you run your operations. Then you can give it feedback. So you could say, I don't think I can do that plan. Here's why. Here are the things that I need you to change in that plan. It'll run its optimization again. It'll give you an output that's an updated schedule, and it will actually pre-calculate the cost savings that go along with the program that it's recommended. So it's very interesting. It's very cool. We're going to be doing more webinars regarding the Copilot coming up. So make sure you're on our mailing list so you can be a part of those as well.